My husband wants to force me to take care of his elderly mother, but she has always been mean to me, and I don't want to be her retirement plan, so I guess he's forcing me to divorce him. My husband of 16 years asked me if I would be willing to care for his mother, and I told him no. When my husband asked why not, I told him the truth. We never got along. She has always been passive-aggressive towards me. I have been told that it is common for many Hispanic mothers to behave this way when no one is good enough for their child. We are civil towards one another, that is the best we can do. My husband even dared to bring up the fact that he supported me fully, both financially and emotionally, when I took care of my dad who had cancer. I told him the situations were different because he offered. I did not ask. I also had other family members helping. He is an only child and has no one else, so everything would mostly fall on my shoulders since he works long hours, sometimes 12 to 18 hours a day. Last week alone, he worked 84 hours. I told him I understand it may seem unfair, but the situations are different. I had support when it came to caring for my dad, but I will have nearly zero support for his mother. Yes, he has offered to pay for extra support, but that will just eat into our budget. We are currently trying to save for a house, and I am not working as I am in school trying to finish my degree. I took time off from teaching to care for my dad. After he passed, I did not want to go back to teaching. So, at the moment, I am in my 3rd year of my engineering degree. I do not wish to put that on hold to take care of his mother. After I explained all of this, my husband just left, and has not returned any of my phone calls. I spoke with my mom, but she was not very helpful. She found it silly that I even went to school in the first place. It got me thinking, am I the jerk for not wanting to put my own goals and life on hold again for a sick parent? Update 1. For those interested, I am providing an update because I received a few DMs requesting information on how things have progressed. My husband has been staying with his mother. My sister suggested I look into divorce and have the papers served ASAP to mitigate how much my husband uses of our marital assets. I also spoke with my mother again, and she still sides with my husband. At this point, I am strongly considering going through with what my sister suggested. Divorcing now will favor me more than waiting until resentment boils over. I have only been able to speak to my husband once during this time. I did offer a compromise. He waits until I find employment that matches what he makes or at least half. He became visibly annoyed because waiting until I get employment that matches what he earns now will take years, and getting a job that only covers half of what he makes will still require him to work longer hours until I graduate. He keeps pushing for me to go back to teaching for now and work on my degree part-time. I told him I will not delay my degree for a person that hates me. As many mentioned, I asked why he never put his mother in her place when she was passive-aggressive towards me. He recounted the times he did stand up for me, but in the same breath, he asked, "What did you expect me to do, ignore my mother because she would not listen?" He even had the audacity to quote our current situation as a means to justify her feelings towards me. He asked me loaded questions that do not match the situation, like, would your parents like me if I put us in a situation where you had to work 84-hour weeks regularly to keep a somewhat comfortable lifestyle? In my opinion, that is not fair because, once I had to explain, he offered. I did not ask him to do any of that. He was the one who came to me and asked if I wanted to stop working to care for my dad and focus on being around him. Why would I say no to that? We also both agreed that going back to school to do something I would enjoy more than teaching was not a bad idea. Once again, it was his idea to fully fund it. I offered to take out loans, but he told me taking out loans just to defer the payments for a later date seems silly, and we should look at programs and schools that fit within our family budget so I can graduate debt-free. In short, he said it makes no sense to take on debt for a second career at our ages. I did not do any of this unilaterally, unlike him using our marital assets to fund his mother's care. No child should be a parent's retirement plan, end of story. He loves to bring up what I did for my dad, but the part he loves to overlook is that he did not actively take part in the care of my dad. He did not move in with us, and he never had to physically take care of him. These situations are different. I also had family to help, whereas he has no one. I get that being an only child sucks, but that is not my fault. So most likely, I will be divorcing my husband because he refuses to see the difference, and I need to do what is best for my future overall. Commenter. Has anyone read the comments from Op? She was not her father's caregiver despite her trying to make it seem that way. Op hasn't worked since 2016, doesn't help at home, and doesn't want to help her husband, all while he's been busting his back working over 80 hours a week. Yet, people want to act like she's a victim. In another post, she strongly indicates that the awful things her mother-in-law said about her were actually her mother-in-law reading Op like a book, and saying she was a parasite that was all take and no give. So, I have trouble feeling much sympathy for her crying about how awfully she was treated. It's not an insult if it is true, and by all accounts, Op is proving her mother-in-law right about how she was taking her son for a ride, only using him for his money. This man has fronted her the money to pay for 3 years of schooling after she had a midlife crisis, decided she hated teaching, and told him she wanted to go back to school to become an engineer, on top of helping her care for her dad. And to do this, he busted his back working 84-hour weeks to make sure the standard of living didn't go down from what she was used to. At this point, I have to hope this is a bot post because otherwise, damn, do I feel sorry for this man.